Hello, we are Studio Cheer, the team behind the physics-defying Manifold Garden and the upcoming VR exploration game Hotel Infinity. This is the first in a series of videos where we're gonna go over the design foundations and tech that we built out in order to make Hotel Infinity a reality. In this first video, we're gonna go over the most basic building block in the game, quadrates. Hotel Infinity is a room-scale-first VR game about exploring the impossible halls and rooms of a seemingly abandoned grand hotel. We set out to make this game with the goal of having players be able to explore every nook and cranny the hotel has to offer without ever having to use joystick-based movement or controller-based teleportation, but rather only having to rely on their own 2 feet. We do this by connecting 2 meter by 2 meter areas, which we internally refer to as quadrates, together by way of invisible portals. Each quadrate is broken down into a 3x3 grid of panels, where most hallways in the game are 1 panel wide. Quadrates are then combined via portals to build out larger areas like long hallways and our larger spaces like the lobby. By containing all movement and interactions within the bounds of a quadrate, we ensure that players can safely play the game in room scale mode without fear of running into any objects outside their play space. We must be careful to place all portals along the interior grid lines of our quadrates in order to ensure that they connect nicely with the portals in other quadrates, and that we don't accidentally try to lead the player outside their play space. In order to maximize the sense of immersion and have players feel like they're really traversing this gigantic hotel, it's important for us to make sure all the quadrates are as invisible as possible while still making it clear where the player is allowed to walk and where they aren't. Objects like walls, furniture, and stanchions, those little poles with the ropes hanging between them, are placed along the perimeter of the quadrates to clearly distinguish the bounds while simultaneously having them blend into the surroundings and not call the player's attention to the fact that we're corralling them to a 2 meter by 2 meter box. The way we use quadrates has evolved dramatically over the course of development. Early on, most spaces were either just narrow hallways or rooms that were barely larger than a single quadrate. You can see how the lobby evolved from just one of these small rooms, just barely bigger than a quadrate, eventually to a slightly larger room that had a handful of quadrates placed around it, and eventually becoming this huge sprawling space that has the player traversing multiple levels. We also use quadrates the player doesn't actually walk into to build out our impossible puzzles, but that's a larger topic and we'll discuss that in a future video. Now that we've established the basics that go into designing our levels for room scale movements, we'll use future videos to do deep dives into other aspects of the game's design and its evolution. We're excited to share the lessons we learned while building this game with you all. Please consider wishlisting Hotel Infinity on MetaQuest and PSVR 2 so you can know exactly when it comes out later this year. We'll see you in the next video.